Hello there, and welcome to the Boring Universe channel. Tonight, you don't need to solve anything. You don't need to understand yourself. You don't need to control your thoughts. Just let them come and let them pass. Before sleep, the mind behaves differently. Thoughts slow down, soften, and begin to lose their sharp edges. They stop marching in straight lines and begin to drift like clouds with no destination. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they are not trying to tell you anything important. They may feel meaningful, they may feel deep, they may even feel urgent, but most of them are simply echoes. Your brain, preparing for rest, starts to loosen its grip on logic. The part of you that plans, calculates, and worries slowly steps back. Another part quietly takes over, a softer, older part that thinks in images, feelings, and fragments. That's why thoughts before sleep often feel unfinished. They don't arrive with conclusions. They don't demand answers. They appear, pause, and dissolve. You might notice memories surfacing without invitation, a random moment from years ago, a face you haven't thought about in a long time, a place that no longer exists. This happens because your brain is gently sorting the day, not in words, not in lists, but in impressions. Before sleep, the mind prefers impressions. Another calm fact is this: most thoughts before sleep are not problems. They only feel that way because the world is quiet. During the day, noise hides them. At night, silence gives them space. But silence does not mean danger, it means safety. When your surroundings are still, your brain finally feels allowed to wander. No alerts, no expectations, no next task, just you and the soft hum of awareness slowing down. Some thoughts repeat themselves at night, not because they are important, but because repetition is soothing to the brain, like waves touching the shore again and again, not to change it, just to be there. If a thought returns, you don't need to push it away. You don't need to follow it either. You can let it float by like a leaf on dark water. Another gentle truth: thoughts before sleep are often exaggerated. Feelings feel larger, memories feel closer, questions feel heavier. This is not insight, it is chemistry. As your body releases sleep hormones, emotional filters soften. The mind becomes more sensitive, not more accurate, which is why nighttime thoughts should never be judged. They belong to a temporary state, a passing tide. Soon, even these thoughts will grow quieter. Images will replace sentences, connections will loosen, and eventually, thought itself will fade into rest. You don't need to hurry. You don't need to understand. Just stay here, breathing slowly, letting each thought come and gently leave. As the night deepens, thoughts begin to change their shape. They no longer arrive fully formed. They come softly, half-lit, like reflections on dark glass. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they stop belonging to time. A thought may begin in the present, borrow a memory from the past, and drift towards something that never happened at all. And your mind is perfectly comfortable with this. Before sleep, the brain is not trying to be correct. It is trying to be gentle. This is why ideas blur together, why names slip away, why you may forget what you were just thinking about, and feel strangely relieved when you do. That forgetting is not failure. It is a sign that the mind is letting it go. Another quiet truth: the mind before sleep becomes less interested in identity. During the day, thoughts often revolve around me, what you did, what you should do, what you might do wrong. At night, that center loosens. Thoughts become less personal. They feel more like passing scenes than stories about you. You may notice images instead of words, a hallway, a sky, a feeling with no name. This happens because the language centers of the brain begin to rest first. Images linger longer. Sensation lingers longer. That's why nighttime thoughts often feel dreamlike even before sleep arrives. Another calm fact: your mind is practicing dreaming. Before sleep, the boundaries between waking thought and dreaming thought thin. Not suddenly, but gradually, like fog rolling in without announcement. Logic fades, sequence dissolves, meaning becomes optional. You might notice a thought that makes no sense at all, and instead of questioning it, you simply accept it. That acceptance is important. It means the mind is no longer fighting itself. Many people worry when their thoughts feel strange before sleep. They think something is wrong. But this strangeness is natural. It is the mind powering down its daytime systems. Like a city at night, traffic lights switch off. Offices go dark. Only quiet windows remain lit. Another gentle observation: thoughts slow down when the body feels safe. As your breathing deepens, your muscles soften, your nervous system receives a simple message: nothing needs to happen right now. In response, thoughts lose urgency. They no longer push, they wander. This is why forcing sleep never works. Pressure wakes the mind back up, but allowing thoughts to drift, even strange ones, guides the mind naturally toward rest. If a thought appears that feels emotional, you don't need to explore it. You can acknowledge it without entering it. Like noticing a light in a distant house. You don't need to knock. You can just keep walking. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they are often symbolic. The mind stops speaking literally. It begins speaking softly, indirectly. A thought about water may really be about rest. A thought about travel may really be about release. A thought about someone long gone may simply be the brain closing old folders. You don't need to interpret any of this. The mind does not need your help right now. It knows what it's doing. As sleep approaches, gaps appear between thoughts, tiny spaces of nothing. At first, they are brief, barely noticeable, but they grow, and in those spaces, the body rests. You may find yourself forgetting where you are, not in a frightening way, in a soft way. Awareness loosens its grip on location, posture, even time. This is not sleep yet, but it is the doorway. If you notice yourself drifting and then suddenly waking back up, that is normal. The mind often checks in once or twice before fully letting go. You don't need to react. Each return is quieter than the last. Soon, thoughts will no longer arrive as sentences. They will arrive as textures, as warmth, as weight, and eventually they won't arrive at all. Just stay here, breathing slowly, letting the night carry the rest. As the mind drifts closer to sleep, something subtle begins to happen. Thoughts stop feeling like thoughts. They soften into sensations. You may notice this as a gentle heaviness behind the eyes, or a warmth spreading through the chest, or a quiet floating feeling, as if your body is slightly lighter than before. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they gradually move out of the head and into the body. During the day, thinking lives mostly in words. At night, it lives in feelings. This shift is natural. The brain is changing modes. Language begins to rest. The senses take over. You might feel as though you are sinking, or gently rocking, or slowly expanding. None of these sensations mean anything is happening. They simply mean that the mind is handing control back to the body. Another gentle truth: before sleep, the brain stops checking for meaning. A thought might appear without context, a sensation without cause, an image without a story. And that is perfectly okay. The need to understand fades before the need to rest. You may notice that sounds feel farther away now. Even familiar noises seem distant. Less important, your awareness narrows, not in focus, but in concern. The world is still there. It just doesn't require your attention anymore. Another calm fact is that the body leads the mind into sleep, not the other way around. As muscles soften, the brain receives signals of safety. As breathing slows, the nervous system shifts toward rest. Thoughts respond by loosening their grip. That's why paying attention to the body feels comforting before sleep. Not because it solves anything, but because it tells the mind it no longer needs to stay alert. If a thought tries to pull you back into wakefulness, you don't need to resist it. Resistance creates tension. Tension invites more thought. Instead, you can gently return to sensation, the feeling of the bed beneath you, the weight of your body being held, the slow rise and fall of breath. These sensations are anchors, not to keep you awake, but to guide you downward. Another quiet observation: before sleep, the sense of self becomes less defined. You may feel less like a person with a name and history, and more like a presence, a simple awareness. This is not losing yourself, it is resting from being yourself. For a while, you don't need roles, memories, or plans. You can just exist. As thoughts fade, the body may twitch or jerk slightly. This is normal. It is the nervous system releasing leftover energy, letting go of the last tension of the day. You don't need to react. Each release makes the next moment quieter. Soon, even sensations will begin to blur. Edges soften. Boundaries dissolve. Where your body ends and the space around it begins becomes less clear. This is the mind stepping gently into the background, not disappearing, just resting. If you find yourself drifting in and out, that's okay. Sleep doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in waves. Each wave a little deeper, each return a little shorter. You don't need to follow the waves. You can let them pass over you. Soon, there will be fewer thoughts to notice, fewer sensations to name, only quiet. And then, without effort, sleep will take over. Just stay with the softness. There is nothing else to do. As you rest here, something else slowly loosens its hold. Time. Before sleep, time becomes less solid, less important. Minutes stop feeling like minutes. Moments stretch or disappear altogether. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they no longer keep track. The mind stops counting, stops measuring, stops checking how long anything takes. This is why it can feel like you've been awake forever, and then suddenly realize you've already been drifting. The brain does not need time to sleep. Time belongs to wakefulness. As thoughts quiet, the sense of past and future softens. Memories no longer arrive in order. Plans lose their urgency. Tomorrow feels far away and unimportant. Only this moment remains. And even this moment is beginning to thin. Another gentle truth: before sleep, the mind stops telling stories. During the day, thoughts connect everything. One idea leads to another. Everything has a reason. At night, stories unravel. Thoughts no longer explain themselves. They don't need beginnings or endings. They appear and then dissolve. This is not confusion. It is freedom. The mind is being released from the task of making sense. You may notice longer pauses now, moments where nothing happens. At first, the mind might notice the silence. It might try to fill it. But if you allow the pause to remain, it grows. And in that growing quiet, time loosens even more. Another calm fact is this: sleep begins when the mind stops asking, "What's next?" No next thought, no next moment, no next task, just softness. Your breathing may feel slower now, not forced, not controlled, just naturally deep, each breath less noticeable than the last. The body is doing the work for you. If awareness drifts away and gently returns, that's normal. The mind often checks once more before fully letting go. Each check is softer, less clear, like tapping the surface of water before sinking beneath it. You may feel as though you're floating, or falling, or simply spreading outward. These sensations are signs of boundaries fading. Where you are, and when you are, become less distinct. Another quiet observation: before sleep, the mind becomes very old. Older than language, older than clocks. This is the same mental space humans have entered for thousands of years when night arrived and firelight dimmed. A place of rest, of safety, of surrender. Nothing is expected of you here. If a thought appears, it will likely feel distant now, muted, soft around the edges. You don't need to respond. Thoughts no longer need attention to fade. They fade on their own. Soon, even the idea of sleep will lose meaning. There will be no watching, no waiting, just drifting. And then, nothing at all. You don't need to try to reach that place. It is already approaching you. Just stay still. Let time dissolve. Let the night carry you the rest of the way. By now, awareness feels softer than before. Not gone, just lighter, like a candle flame protected from the wind. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they stop asking to be noticed. They still appear sometimes, but without urgency. They no longer knock. They simply pass through. You may notice that your attention no longer rests on any one thing. It drifts from breath to darkness to nothing in particular. This drifting is not distraction. It is the natural movement of a mind preparing to rest. Another gentle truth: before sleep, awareness begins to thin out, not fade completely, just spread. Instead of focusing sharply, it becomes wide and shallow, like mist over water. You might feel aware of the room, but not clearly, aware of your body, but without detail. Edges blur. The body feels heavier, yet also distant. This is because the brain is slowly disconnecting sensory input. It no longer needs constant updates. Everything is fine as it is. Another calm fact is that before sleep, the mind becomes less interested in control. There is no effort now. Breathing happens without guidance. Thoughts appear without direction. Stillness exists without intention. This effortlessness is important. Sleep arrives only when effort leaves. If you notice a moment where awareness seems to dip and then gently return, that's okay. Those dips are invitations. Each one takes you a little deeper. You may experience brief images now, not dreams, just fragments, a color, a shape, a place with no name. They appear quietly and disappear even more quietly. You don't need to watch them. They are signs that the dreaming mind is waking up as the waking mind falls asleep. Another quiet observation: before sleep, the sense of here and there softens. You may feel less located in your body, less centered, almost like awareness is hovering just above rest. This is safe. This is normal. The body is fully supported. The mind is gently stepping aside. You might notice that even silence has texture now. A soft hum, a gentle stillness. Not empty, just quiet. At this stage, trying to think clearly feels unnecessary. Thoughts don't line up anymore. They don't want to. And that's exactly right. Sleep does not come from clarity. It comes from release. Soon, awareness itself will begin to dim, not suddenly, not dramatically. Like a room where the lights are turned down slowly until you forget they were ever on. You don't need to follow the dimming. You don't need to notice it. Just allow yourself to rest inside it. Nothing else is required of you. Something has shifted now, not in a way that needs noticing, but in a way that feels softer. Awareness no longer stands at the front. It has taken a small step back, and sleep has quietly stepped forward. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they stop arriving on purpose. They come without direction, without logic, without a beginning. You may notice a thought start in the middle or end before it finishes. This is not interruption. It is the mind letting go of structure. Sleep does not need structure. Another gentle truth: before sleep fully arrives, awareness flickers, like a light that gently wavers. You may feel present, then absent, then present again. Each returns softer than the last. There is no need to hold on to the moments of awareness. They are not checkpoints. They are just gentle ripples on the surface. The deeper part is already calm. You might notice your breathing now feels very far away, almost like someone else is breathing for you. That is because the conscious mind has stepped aside. The body knows exactly what to do. Another calm fact is that before sleep, the mind stops reacting. Sounds may still exist, but they no longer carry meaning. Sensations may still be there, but they don't ask for response. Even thoughts, when they appear, feel distant, like hearing a conversation in another room. This distance is comforting. It means nothing needs your attention. You may feel moments where awareness drops completely and then softly returns. This is the edge of sleep, the doorway. Each time you touch it, you stay a little longer. There is no falling, no sudden shift, just a gentle leaning inward. Another quiet observation: before sleep, the sense of effort disappears entirely. No trying, no guiding, no choosing, just being carried. If a thought tries to form now, it likely feels slow, heavy. It may dissolve before you even recognize it. That's okay. The mind no longer needs to finish anything. This is the space where dreams begin to assemble quietly, behind the scenes. Not stories yet, just fragments, pieces waiting to connect. You don't need to watch this process. Sleep does not need an audience. You may feel warmth spreading through the body, or a pleasant numbness, or nothing at all. All of these are signs of rest deepening. At this point, awareness becomes optional. You can let it go completely. Nothing will be lost. Nothing will be missed. Sleep is already here, holding you. And soon, there will be no need for words anymore. Now, the night feels closer than before. Not darker, just nearer. Awareness is still here, but it is no longer standing upright. It is reclining. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they no longer belong to you. They arise, but without ownership. A thought may pass through, and you don't feel the need to say, "That was my thought." It simply was. And then it wasn't. This is one of the softest transitions the mind makes each day, the letting go of authorship. During waking life, the mind constantly claims thoughts, labels them, responds to them. Before sleep, that claiming dissolves. Thoughts become weather, passing conditions, no identity attached. You may notice that it feels harder to remember what you were just thinking, not because you are tired, but because memory is no longer being recorded. The brain has stopped writing things down. This is important. Sleep begins when the mind decides nothing needs to be remembered. Another gentle truth. Before sleep, the inner voice grows quiet. That voice that narrates, comments, explains. It softens. Words slow, sentences trail off. Eventually, language itself becomes unnecessary. You may still sense meaning, but without words, like understanding a feeling without naming it. This is a very old state of mind, older than speech, older than thought. It is the place humans return to every night, even if they don't notice it. Another calm fact is that the mind before sleep becomes very kind, not emotionally kind, but structurally kind. It stops challenging itself, stops questioning. Nothing needs to be proven, nothing needs to be solved. Even worries, if they appear now, feel softer, less sharp, less convincing. They don't hook the attention the way they did before. They float and fade. You may notice your body feels very distant now. Not heavy, not light, just background. The sensation of having a body is no longer the center of experience. Instead, there is a sense of being held by the bed, by the room, by the night itself. Another quiet observation. Before sleep, boundaries disappear. The line between inside and outside softens, between thought and sensation, between you and rest. Everything begins to blend. This blending is what allows sleep to arrive gently, without interruption. If awareness returns briefly, that's okay. Think of it as a bubble rising to the surface of water, then popping. Each return is brief, each release deeper. You don't need to follow awareness when it rises. You don't need to push it back down. It will sink on its own. Breathing now is slow and effortless, so quiet it may barely be noticeable. The nervous system has shifted fully into safety. The body is no longer scanning. The mind is no longer watching. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that eventually they stop forming altogether, not suddenly, not dramatically. They simply don't complete themselves. A beginning with no middle, a middle with no end, and then nothing. Just stillness. In this stillness, there is no boredom, no waiting, because time is already let go. Moments no longer follow one another. They overlap or disappear. This is where sleep lives. Not ahead of you, not beneath you, but around you. If you are still listening, that's fine. If you drift away, that's fine too. There is nothing left to do. No more understanding, no more noticing. Just rest, quiet and complete. And soon, without effort, even this awareness will gently fade. Now there is a different kind of quiet. Not the quiet of listening, but the quiet of being held. Awareness is still present, but it no longer feels like watching. It feels like floating. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that, at this stage, they no longer arrive as thoughts at all. They arrive as softness, as a vague sense of familiarity, as a feeling that something was happening, but doesn't need to continue. The mind has stopped reaching outward. It is no longer curious, no longer alert, no longer interested in staying awake. Sleep is now doing the guiding. You may notice that attention feels scattered, not focused on anything specific. This is not distraction. This is diffusion. The mind is spreading itself thin until there is nothing left to hold on to. Another gentle truth. Before sleep deepens, the sense of "I'm here" begins to loosen, not in a frightening way, in a comforting way, like taking off a coat you didn't realize was heavy. The idea of you becomes quieter, not gone, just resting. You may feel moments where awareness drops completely and then returns briefly. These moments are longer now, deeper. Each one is a small sleep. Each return is softer, less complete. The brain is slipping gently between worlds. Another calm fact is that memory is now fully offline. You're no longer storing this moment, or the last one, or the one before that. That's why it may feel impossible to remember what you were just thinking. Nothing is being recorded. This is intentional. Sleep begins when memory stops caring. You may feel a pleasant numbness in the body, or a warm heaviness, or a sensation of drifting downward. These sensations are signs of the body fully relaxing its defenses. Muscles let go. Joints soften. Even the face relaxes into stillness. There is no expression now, no posture, just rest. Another quiet observation. Before deep sleep, the mind stops resisting silence. Earlier, silence might have felt noticeable, something to observe. Now it feels natural, comforting, like returning to a place you've been many times before. You may notice that thoughts no longer interrupt the quiet. If something appears, it dissolves immediately, like mist touched by sunlight. No effort required, no reaction needed. Sleep is not something you enter. It is something that surrounds you. And now, it has almost fully closed around awareness. You may feel as though you are very far away, or very close, or nowhere at all. Location no longer matters. Time no longer matters. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that eventually there are no thoughts left to describe, only rest describing itself. The brain has shifted fully into its nighttime rhythm, slow waves, deep patterns, gentle repetition. This is the most natural state a human mind can be in. No planning, no remembering, no effort, just being carried forward without needing to know where. If awareness flickers now, it is brief, a spark, then darkness, a breath, then stillness. You are no longer on the edge of sleep. You are inside it. And the story continues quietly, even if you don't hear it. Nothing important will happen without you. Nothing needs your attention. The night has taken over, and it will keep holding you until morning arrives on its own. Now, there is almost no difference between being awake and not being awake. Not because you are confused, but because the idea of difference itself has faded. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that eventually the mind forgets how to begin a thought, not because it is tired, not because it is weak, but because it no longer needs to. Thoughts require edges, beginnings and endings, connections. Sleep removes edges, and without edges, thoughts cannot hold their shape. You may notice that awareness now feels extremely distant, like something you once used, but don't need anymore. It hasn't disappeared. It's just resting in the background, unobserved. The body is completely still now, not frozen, settled. Every muscle has released its last quiet tension. Even the smallest ones you never noticed during the day, the jaw, the tongue, the muscles behind the eyes. Everything has softened. Another gentle truth. Before deep sleep, the sense of effort is completely gone. There is no trying to relax, no trying to sleep, no trying to listen. Those actions belong to wakefulness. Now, there is only allowing. Breathing happens so quietly, it barely feels like breathing. More like a gentle rhythm moving through you. The nervous system has fully shifted into restoration. Repair begins here. Renewal begins here. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they are no longer needed for safety. During the day, thoughts keep watch. They scan, they plan, they protect. At night, the body takes over that role. Heart rate slows, blood pressure lowers, the brain changes its internal signals. Nothing is required from you. You are safe enough to disappear for a while. You may feel moments of drifting that last longer now. Moments where there is no awareness at all, followed by a brief return. These returns feel faint, unimportant, like waking for a second and then sinking back into warmth. Each return is weaker than the last. Sleep is winning, not by force, but by patience. Another quiet observation. Before deep sleep, the idea of listening fades. Sounds may still exist in the world, but they no longer register. The brain has closed that channel, not shut, just dimmed, as if turning down a volume knob until silence feels natural. If an image appears now, it is not something you see. It is something you are inside of. There is no distance between observer and seen. This is the doorway to dreaming, not the dreams you remember, but the early shapeless ones. Dreams without stories, without characters, without emotion, just motion, texture, drift. Another calm fact is that before deep sleep, the mind stops caring about coherence. Things do not need to make sense to exist. This is why dreams can form. Logic has stepped aside. Order has relaxed. The mind has returned to a much older way of being, a way that existed long before language. You may feel as though you are sinking or floating or spreading outward, or you may feel nothing at all. Nothing is the deepest sign of rest. It means the mind is no longer narrating experience. There is no "this feels like," because there is no need to describe, just rest experiencing itself. Another gentle truth: at this stage, even the idea of sleep is unnecessary. There is no waiting for it, no watching for it. Sleep is already happening. The mind is fully inside it now. Awareness, if it appears at all, is dim and brief, like a light seen through closed eyelids. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to stay with it. It will fade on its own. The story continues beneath awareness now, quietly, without words. And even if you are not listening, it keeps going. Nothing important will be missed. Nothing needs to be remembered. The night is doing exactly what it has done for you every night of your life, holding you, repairing you, letting you disappear safely, and soon, without any moment you can point to, awareness will be gone entirely, not lost, just resting. Now there is no edge to notice, no moment where sleep began and awareness ended. That line has already dissolved. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that, at this depth, they no longer belong to the surface of the mind at all. They move underneath, quietly, automatically, without ever rising high enough to be seen. You are no longer thinking, and you are no longer trying not to think. Both of those belong to earlier stages. Now, the mind is resting in its natural state, a state it returns to every night, whether noticed or not. Another gentle truth: before deep, uninterrupted sleep, the mind releases the need to witness itself. There is no observer left asking, "Am I asleep yet?" That question cannot exist here. Questions require alertness. Alertness has already let go. The body is fully surrendered to the surface beneath it. There is no adjustment, no micro-movement. Even discomfort has faded, not because it was fixed, but because attention has moved away from the body entirely. The body is no longer the center of experience. It is simply being maintained. Breathing continues, but without sensation. Heartbeat continues, but without awareness. Another calm fact is that, at this stage, the brain has shifted into its slowest, deepest rhythm. Waves move through it like tides. Not fast, not slow, steady. These rhythms are ancient, older than thoughts, older than worry. They are the rhythms of repair. Cells restore, memories settle, emotions soften and reorganize. All of this happens without effort. Sleep is not passive. It is deeply active, just not in ways the waking mind can follow. Another quiet observation. Before deep sleep fully stabilizes, there may be brief fragments of dreams, not stories, not images you could describe, just sensations. Motion without direction, presence without identity. These are not meant to be remembered. They are the mind stretching into its night form, like an animal curling into rest. You may feel as though you are nowhere now, no location, no orientation. This is not disconnection. This is freedom from location. The brain has stopped mapping space. There is no here or there, only rest. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they do not disappear. They transform. They become maintenance, sorting, balancing, letting go. During the day, thoughts are tools. At night, they are caretakers. They clean up quietly without asking for attention. You don't hear them, you don't see them, but they are working. If awareness returns briefly and then fades again, that is simply the mind checking balance. Like a door gently closing, then sealing fully. Each return is weaker than the last. Soon, even these flickers stop. There is no more returning, only depth. In this depth, time no longer passes, not because it stopped, but because nothing is measuring it. Minutes cannot exist without awareness. Here, awareness is resting. Another gentle truth. This is the safest state your nervous system knows. There is no vigilance, no scanning. The body trusts the night completely. That trust is what allows healing. That trust is what allows dreams to come later, fully formed, without effort. You do not need to reach those dreams. They will come when the mind is ready. For now, there is only stillness. No need to breathe a certain way. No need to relax further. Everything that could let go has already let go. The story continues now without sound, without words, without listener. And that is exactly how it is meant to be. You are being held by a process older than memory, gentler than thought, and patient beyond time. Nothing will interrupt this. Nothing will ask anything of you. The night has taken over completely, and it will stay with you for as long as you need. Now the night feels complete, not finished, complete. There is no sense of arrival here because arrival requires awareness, and awareness is resting. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that in deep sleep, they no longer exist as experiences. They exist only as processes, silent movements beneath the surface, invisible to you, but steady and precise. The mind is no longer producing thoughts. It is tending to itself. Like a quiet house at night, lights off, doors closed, everything inside gently settling. You are no longer present as a watcher. You are present as rest itself. The body lies completely still now, not because it must, but because there is no reason to move. Muscles remain relaxed without effort. Breathing flows in a slow, even rhythm. The heart works calmly, confidently. Nothing interrupts this balance. Another gentle truth. Deep sleep is not emptiness. It is fullness without awareness. The brain is busy now, more active in some ways than it is during the day. Memories are being sorted. Emotions are being softened. Unnecessary connections are being released. None of this requires your attention. You're not invited to watch. And that is a gift. Another calm fact is that the sense of self is completely offline here. There is no name, no story, no past or future, only functioning, only care, only restoration. If dreams appear now, they are quiet, not stories you will remember, not scenes you could describe. They are abstract, fluid, unattached. Dreams at this stage are like gentle currents moving through the mind without images. They do not ask to be followed. They do not linger. They exist only to smooth the transition between one state and another. Another quiet observation. Time has no meaning here, not slow time, not fast time, no time. Hours can pass without any trace. The night moves forward, but nothing inside you counts. This is why sleep feels instantaneous when you wake, why it seems like the night disappears. There was no one there to witness it. The nervous system is now fully restored to safety mode. Every signal says, you are protected, you are supported, nothing is required. That message echoes softly through every system in the body. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that this is where they truly end, not with silence, but with usefulness fulfilled. They are no longer needed. They have handed responsibility back to biology, to rhythm, to instinct, and those systems know exactly what to do. If awareness tries to surface now, it is brief and vague. A ripple, a shimmer, and then gone. The mind gently returns itself to depth. There is no struggle, no interruption. Sleep holds its ground. This is the deepest kind of rest, the kind that does not feel like resting, because feeling itself has stepped aside. The body repairs what needs repairing. The mind resets what needs resetting, and you are not involved. That is why this works. Another gentle truth. Nothing from the day can reach you here. No memory, no worry, no unfinished thought. They remain outside, waiting quietly until morning gives them permission to return. But for now, they have no access. You are unavailable. And that unavailability is exactly what allows renewal. Breathing continues, slow, regular, each breath a signal of stability, each moment a continuation of safety. The story does not need words anymore. It continues as rhythm, as balance, as rest. Even if you never hear another sentence, nothing is lost. This part of the story is not meant to be listened to. It is meant to be lived unconsciously. The night moves gently around you, protective, patient, and it will stay like this until the body decides it has rested enough, until the first hint of morning quietly approaches. For now, there is nothing else, only deep sleep, quiet dreaming, complete rest, and the calm knowledge, far beneath awareness, that you are exactly where you need to be. The night has settled into itself now. This is the long middle, the quiet stretch where nothing changes and everything is being restored. There is no awareness here that says I am sleeping. There is no awareness at all. And yet, everything is happening. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that deep into the night, they no longer resemble thoughts in any way. They are movements, adjustments, tiny corrections made without sound. The mind is no longer a storyteller. It is a caretaker. It moves through memory gently, touching what needs softening, releasing what no longer belongs. Nothing is replayed the way it was lived. Nothing is judged. Memories are reduced to their essence, then stored quietly or allowed to dissolve. The body rests deeply in this stretch. Muscles remain loose and warm. Breathing stays slow and regular. The heart works steadily without effort. There is no tension left to release, no signal left to quiet. The nervous system has reached equilibrium. Another gentle truth. During this part of the night, the brain synchronizes itself. Different regions fall into the same rhythm, moving together like distant waves. This harmony is rare during the day. It only happens when awareness steps aside. This is why sleep feels healing, even when nothing seems to happen, because alignment is happening. Another calm fact is that dreams here are not stories. They are impressions without images, emotions without objects, motion without direction. You are not inside these dreams. You are not watching them. They are simply passing through the mind like wind through an open field. They leave no trace. Time passes generously now. Hours move without being felt, without being counted. The night expands. This is the deepest rest humans know, the kind that does not feel like rest because feeling itself is offline. The body uses this time carefully. Cells repair microscopic damage. Hormones rebalance. Energy stores are restored. The mind reorganizes quietly, placing things back where they belong, or deciding they no longer need a place at all. Another quiet observation. Nothing can wake you easily here. The threshold is deep. Sounds may exist in the world, but they do not reach meaning. They do not become messages. The mind remains turned inward, focused on its own careful work. This is not withdrawal. This is maintenance. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that this is where their influence ends. Whatever was left unresolved during the day has been gently neutralized, not solved, not answered, simply softened enough that it no longer carries weight. By morning, many things will feel smaller, not because they changed, but because their emotional charge did. That change happens here, quietly. The body lies still, but it is not inactive. It is deeply busy in the most peaceful way possible. Even the immune system uses this time, strengthening quietly, without sensation. Every system trusts the night. That trust allows the work to continue uninterrupted. Another gentle truth. You're not missing anything. There is no important moment happening that requires your presence. This is not a performance. This is not an experience. It is a process. And processes do not need witnesses. The night holds you steadily now. There is no edge to sleep here, no doorway, only depth. If awareness stirs briefly, it is faint, a distant ripple. It does not form thoughts. It does not form concern. It fades before it can take shape. Sleep closes around it again, smoothly. This middle part of the night is where the greatest restoration happens. It is unremarkable, unmemorable, and that is why it works so well. Nothing interrupts it, nothing disturbs it. The story continues now without sound, without words, without listener. It continues as balance, as regulation, as deep, quiet care. You are being looked after by systems that evolved specifically for this moment. They have done this every night of your life. They know the way. The night stretches on, patient and protective. And when it is ready, not before, it will begin to shift again, toward lighter sleep, toward gentle dreaming, toward morning, but not yet. For now, there is only the long middle, still, safe, complete. Something subtle begins to change now, not in a way that announces itself, not in a way that could be noticed, but in a way the body understands. The deepest part of the night has passed its center, and slowly, very slowly, the current begins to turn. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that even as the night progresses, they do not return all at once. They remain distant, muted, unformed. Sleep loosens in layers, the same way it arrived. The mind does not wake suddenly. It stirs gently, testing the edges of awareness without crossing them. Breathing remains slow and even. The body is still deeply relaxed. But something underneath has shifted direction. Rest has done its work. Now, the systems that were quiet begin to prepare for return. Without urgency, without noise. Another gentle truth. The mind wakes before awareness does. Long before you think, the brain is already adjusting. Hormones shift subtly. Temperature changes slightly. The nervous system begins a slow transition. None of this asks anything of you. You remain absent, resting. Dreams may begin to take a different form now, still soft, still unremarkable, but slightly more structured. Not stories yet, just gentle shapes, a sense of movement, a feeling of direction. Dreams at this stage are like early morning fog. They have form, but no edges. They come and go without leaving memory behind. Another calm fact is that memory is still mostly offline. Even if awareness flickers briefly, nothing is recorded. The mind remains protective of rest. It does not want interruption. The body stays heavy, supported, at ease. Muscles remain relaxed, joints loose, the face calm and still. There is no tension to release anymore, only balance to maintain. Another quiet observation. This stage of sleep is where emotional healing finishes, not through insight, not through understanding, but through distance. Time has passed between you and the day. Enough time that emotions lose their sharpness. By morning, many things will feel lighter, not because they were resolved, but because the mind has restored perspective. That restoration happens here, quietly, without language. The brain continues its gentle reorganization. Connections that were overused loosen. Unused paths fade further. What remains is simpler, cleaner, not because life is simple, but because the mind has filtered what matters. Another gentle truth. You do not carry everything with you into tomorrow. The night removes weight, not deliberately, naturally. It leaves behind what does not need to follow. As sleep lightens slightly, the world remains far away. Sounds are still muffled, sensation still distant. The threshold to waking is still deep. Nothing crosses it easily. If a sound reaches you, it does not form meaning. It is absorbed into dreaming and disappears. The body continues to trust its surroundings. There is no alarm, no signal, just the slow turning of internal rhythms. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they will not return until the mind invites them. They do not rush back in. They wait, respectfully, as if they know this space is not theirs yet. The night remains dominant, protective, steady. You remain suspended in this gentle in-between, not at the bottom anymore, but nowhere near the surface. Time still does not exist here. There is no sense of almost morning, no anticipation, only the continuation of rest. The story carries on beneath awareness, quietly, without words, without listener, just as it has all night. And it will continue this way until the body decides it has rested enough, until light begins to matter again, but not yet. For now, the night is still in control, and it holds you with the same patience it always has. The night has begun to thin, not break, not end, just thin, like mist slowly lifting from a field. Nothing announces this change. Nothing needs to. The body senses it long before awareness does. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that even as morning approaches, they remain absent. The mind does not rush back into thinking. It re-enters gently, one layer at a time. For now, sleep still holds the center. Breathing remains deep and steady. The body stays heavy, comfortably settled into stillness. But somewhere beneath all of this, systems are quietly preparing. Temperature shifts subtly. Hormones adjust. The brain changes its rhythm just enough to allow lightness to return later. None of this reaches awareness yet. You remain resting. Dreams during this stage may become slightly clearer. Not vivid, not memorable. Just a little more structured. They are still not stories, still not scenes. They are more like suggestions, a sense of motion, a feeling of direction. Dreams here act as a bridge. They soften the transition between deep rest and gentle waking. Another gentle truth: this stage of sleep protects you from abrupt return. The mind does not like sharp edges. It prefers curves. So it rounds the night carefully, smoothing the path back toward awareness. Thoughts are still held at a distance. If awareness flickers, it is brief, not enough to form memory, not enough to form concern. The mind checks the surface, then sinks again. Sleep remains dominant. Another calm fact is that emotions are now fully reset. What felt heavy yesterday no longer carries the same charge. Even if the situation remains, the feeling around it has softened. This is not optimism, it is regulation. The nervous system has returned to balance. That balance carries into the morning. The body remains deeply relaxed but no longer sinking. It is floating now, supported, at ease. There is no need to move. Muscles stay loose. Joints remain free. The face is calm, without expression. The mind is still resting from identity. There is no name here, no role, no history, just presence. And even that is faint. Another quiet observation. This is the last part of sleep where nothing is expected of you. Soon, awareness will return. Thoughts will begin to form again. But not yet. For now, you are still completely free from participation. The world remains outside. Light may be changing beyond closed eyes. Sounds may exist in the distance. But none of that matters. The mind remains inward, protected. The night is finishing its work carefully, not hurried, not abrupt, just thorough. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they will reappear only when needed. They do not interrupt this space. They wait until the mind invites them back, and the mind will, in its own time. For now, sleep continues to cradle awareness gently. This is the moment just before morning becomes possible. Not the moment of waking, just the quiet approach. Everything is ready. Nothing is rushing. The story is almost complete. But it does not end loudly. It ends the way it began, softly, patiently, without asking anything of you. Now, the night begins to loosen its hold, not suddenly, not completely, just enough. Awareness does not return all at once. It arrives the way light does at dawn, slowly, indirectly, without sharp edges. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that the first thoughts of waking are not really thoughts at all. They are sensations, a sense of warmth, a sense of position, a faint awareness of breath. The mind does not speak yet. It listens. The body wakes first. Breathing becomes slightly deeper, not faster, just fuller. The chest rises a little more noticeably. The air feels cooler as it enters, warmer as it leaves. Still no urgency, still no reason to move. Another gentle truth. The mind returns without identity at first. There is no name, no schedule, no memory of yesterday, just presence. You exist before you remember who you are. This is one of the quiet gifts of waking. For a brief moment, you are free from story. Thoughts remain distant. If one appears, it is soft, incomplete. It may dissolve before it finishes forming. This is normal. The brain is still protecting the transition. It does not want to shock the nervous system back into alertness. It prefers kindness. Another calm fact is that the mind returns in layers. First sensation, then orientation, then memory. Thinking comes last, and even when it comes, it is gentle at first. You may notice the room without labeling it. Notice light without interpreting it. Notice sound without reacting. This is the echo of sleep. The night leaves this softness behind as a parting gift. The body may begin to stir now. A small adjustment, a subtle stretch. Not because you need to, but because the body is checking itself. Everything still feels safe. Everything still feels supported. Another quiet observation. The emotions you wake with are not the emotions of yesterday. They have been reset, neutral, balanced. Even if concerns return later, they return softened. Sleep has done its work. The mind feels clearer, not because it is thinking better, but because it is thinking less. Thoughts begin to form again, but they do not rush. They line up patiently, waiting their turn. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that the night teaches the mind how to let go. That lesson carries into the morning. You may notice a subtle spaciousness now, a sense that there is room inside you, room to breathe, room to move, room to begin again. This space is not created by effort. It is created by rest. The body feels present again, but not heavy, grounded, calm. You are aware of where you are, but without urgency. There is no demand yet, just the simple fact of being here. The night releases you slowly, not pushing you out, not pulling away, just opening its hands. Another gentle truth. Nothing has been lost during sleep. Nothing important disappeared. What needed to stay has stayed. What needed to go has been quietly set down. The mind feels lighter because it is carrying less. Thoughts will return today. Plans will return. The world will ask for your attention again. But you do not need to rush toward any of it. This moment belongs to you. The final moment of the night and the first moment of the day overlap here, a soft place, a threshold. You are awake enough to notice, but calm enough to remain at ease. This is how the story ends. Not with a conclusion, not with instruction, just with a feeling of warmth, of quiet safety, of readiness without pressure. You can open your eyes when you want to, or keep them closed a little longer. There is no right timing. The night has done its work, and it leaves you gently, the way it always does, without asking anything in return. You are rested, you are steady, you are enough. And whenever night comes again, this quiet path will be waiting for you. There is a quiet space that exists just after waking, not quite night, not yet day. Most people move through it quickly, without noticing, but it is there, gentle, open, unhurried. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they leave behind an echo. Even when you are awake, a trace of that softness remains. In this space, thoughts have not fully returned to their usual speed. They arrive slowly, they do not collide, they drift in, one at a time. Your mind feels wider here, not empty, just spacious. The body begins to reintroduce itself gently. You may notice the weight of your hands, the position of your legs, the quiet stretch of muscles waking up. None of this demands action. It is simply awareness finding its way back into form. Another gentle truth. This moment is still deeply regulated. The nervous system has not switched into urgency yet. Heart rate remains calm. Breathing remains steady. The body remembers the night and carries its balance forward. This is why mornings can feel peaceful before the day begins to speak. Thoughts begin to return, but they are not commanding yet. They feel optional. You might think of something you need to do and feel no pressure to act on it immediately. That ease is not accidental. It is the residue of rest. Another calm fact is that the mind is most flexible in this early window. It has not yet hardened around plans. It has not yet narrowed around problems. It is open. This is why ideas sometimes feel clearer in the morning, why solutions appear without effort. The mind is still breathing. You may notice light more clearly now, the quality of it, the way it touches surfaces. Sound too returns gently. Not loud, not demanding, just present. The world is re-entering at the same slow pace you are. Another quiet observation. This is a moment without story. You have not yet fully remembered yesterday. You have not yet fully imagined today. You exist between them. And that is a rare place to be. Thoughts that appear here are lighter than they will be later. They do not cling. They pass through without needing to be held. This is why mornings can feel forgiving. The mind has not yet decided what matters most. Another gentle truth: you do not need to rush out of this space. Even if the day requires action soon, this moment still belongs to you. A breath taken slowly here carries calm forward. A moment of stillness here sets the tone for what follows. The night has not fully released you yet. It lingers softly, making sure the transition is kind. Thoughts will sharpen later, attention will narrow, but not now. Now, you are allowed to arrive slowly, to let awareness stretch without direction, to feel the simple fact of being awake again. This part of the story is not about doing, it is about landing gently back into the world. And the calm you feel here is not fragile. It will stay with you longer than you think. The day begins quietly inside you before it begins anywhere else. Even as awareness sharpens, the softness of the night has not disappeared. It has settled. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they teach the mind how to loosen. And that lesson does not vanish when you wake. It lingers, like warmth held in fabric long after it leaves the sun. Thoughts now return more clearly. They form sentences again. They line up with meaning. But they do not rush. They remember the night. The mind has not forgotten how to be gentle. You may notice that your thinking feels slightly slower than it will later, not dull, not foggy, just unhurried. This is the mind choosing pace instead of pressure. Another gentle truth: the first thoughts of the day are negotiable. They arrive softly, asking rather than demanding. You might think of plans, but they do not yet carry weight. You might remember responsibilities, but they do not feel urgent. This is because the nervous system is still anchored in safety. The body has not yet shifted into defense. Breathing remains deep. Shoulders remain relaxed. The jaw stays soft. Even as the world begins to appear more clearly, the body holds on to ease. Another calm fact is that the mind integrates rest gradually. It does not snap back to its daytime rhythm. It warms up, like a landscape waking under morning light. You may notice this in how you move. Movements feel slower, more deliberate. There is less friction. The body is awake, but not tense. This is the gift of uninterrupted rest. Another quiet observation: thoughts that appear now are less emotional. They feel neutral, balanced. Even topics that usually trigger reaction may feel distant for a moment. That distance is not avoidance, it is perspective. Sleep has placed space between you and yesterday, enough space to breathe. The mind begins to rebuild its sense of direction, not urgently, not forcefully, gently. You start to remember who you are, where you are, what this day may contain. But none of this presses in all at once. Identity returns softly. Roles return softly. The mind does not yet tighten around them. Another gentle truth: you do not need to decide anything immediately. The day will unfold whether you rush or not, and the calm you carry now will influence how it unfolds. Thoughts that come later will be shaped by this early state. A slower beginning creates a steadier day. The night has taught your mind how to let go. The morning teaches it how to begin again without grabbing too tightly. You may notice a subtle clarity now, not the sharp clarity of problem solving, but the calm clarity of orientation. You know where you are. You know you are safe. That knowledge settles quietly beneath everything else. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they empty the mind so it can refill cleanly, not with noise, but with intention. What you think today does not need to be heavy. You are not starting from strain. You are starting from rest. The world may soon ask for your attention. It may ask for speed. But inside you, there is still a slower rhythm. You can return to it at any moment, with a breath, with a pause, with a moment of stillness. The night does not vanish when the sun rises. It folds itself inside you as steadiness, as patience, as quiet resilience. And even as the day fully arrives, that calm remains available. You carry it forward without effort, without force, just by remembering how it feels to let go. The day opens the way a window does when there is no rush to see outside. Light enters gradually, not all at once. And inside you, something remains quiet enough to notice that gentleness. One calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they teach the mind how to move without urgency. That lesson still shapes this moment. As the day begins to form around you, your thoughts do not leap forward. They step, one after another. You may notice that sounds now feel clearer, not louder, clearer. Each sound arrives with space around it. Each moment has room. This is the mind still carrying night within it. Another gentle truth: even when the day is fully present, you do not have to meet it at full speed. Awareness has returned, but it is not tightened. You can feel alert without being tense. You can think without being pulled. The body begins to move more freely now. Small motions feel natural. Stretching happens without planning. Posture adjusts on its own. The body is rejoining the world in its own language. Thoughts begin to take shape again, not as pressure, as direction. Ideas form, intentions appear, but they feel light. They have not yet accumulated weight. Another calm fact is that the mind is most honest when it has recently rested. It does not exaggerate. It does not dramatize. It simply notices. You may notice this in how you interpret the day. Things feel manageable. Proportions feel accurate. Even challenges feel smaller when the mind is not exhausted. The night has reset the scale. Another quiet observation: this is the part of the day where calm becomes choice. Not forced calm, not artificial calm, but remembered calm. You know how it feels now. You have just lived inside it. That knowledge stays accessible. If the day begins to speed up later, you will recognize the difference. And because you recognize it, you can soften again with a pause, with a breath. Thoughts begin to align with action. You may think of something to do and feel ready, not pressured. The body supports the thought. The mind supports the movement. There is coherence. Another gentle truth: you do not leave sleep behind. You integrate it. The clarity you feel now comes from letting go earlier. The steadiness comes from surrender. The mind understands now that it does not need to grip tightly to function well. Thoughts feel more cooperative. They do not compete for attention. They wait their turn. This is not discipline. This is balance. The world begins to feel more solid. Time becomes noticeable again, but it does not rush. Minutes feel like minutes, not deadlines. The nervous system remains grounded. You are awake, but you are not braced. Another calm fact about thoughts before sleep is that they make room for better thinking later, not faster thinking, clearer thinking. You may notice moments of ease today that you cannot explain, moments where things flow, where responses come naturally. Those moments are connected to this morning, to the quiet beginning. The day continues to unfold, people, places, tasks, all of it arriving gradually, and beneath it all, there is still a slow rhythm, a baseline of calm. It does not disappear when things get busy. It simply becomes quieter, but it is still there. The night has not left you. It has taught your mind how to rest and how to return. And that lesson does not fade with daylight.